Alright, so in today's video, I got the Platinum Trophy on Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Now, everyone knows that GTA 6 is officially releasing in May of 2026, and I thought, what better time than right now to Platinum the only other GTA game that is set in the same location, Miami, Florida, baby. Although Vice City in GTA's universe isn't technically Miami, it is very heavily inspired by it, that is according to Google AI, the most trustworthy source of information. But Vice City contains only 34 trophies, including the Platinum. It took me just over 30 hours to complete, and it has a lot of similar trophy structure to the previous GTA game that I made a video on, that being Grand Theft Auto 3. May you suffer in death, my friend. Anyways, this is also a part of a challenge where I'm trying to platinum every single Rockstar game there is before the channel hits 900,000 subscribers. And if I can't do this, then the punishment is I have to platinum Fortnite, one of the hardest platinums to ever exist. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. So, stage 1 today is to just beat the story while going after every missable trophy within it, and there's quite a few scattered throughout the various missions. The main plot and story for Vice City follows a character named Tommy Vercetti as he goes to Vice City, obviously, but it just follows his takeover of the city essentially as he goes up higher and higher in the ranks and ultimately takes over completely. Now, as per usual with the GTA game platinums, I am not going to go through every single little detail of the story flow, and unlike GTA 3, we actually did just bang through the story because the open world after Vice City's main story is finished is relatively peaceful compared to Grand Theft Auto 3's hellscape that is free roam. But the first trophy you can get inside of Vice City is the very first questline you get given from a man named Ken Rosenberg, and it's obtained on his final mission called Riot just from completing it. And if you couldn't tell by the name of the mission itself, the goal was to literally cause a riot while cosplaying as an average working man, and you had to destroy multiple trucks in the riot area. However, I would actually run out of bullets while destroying the last one, and that might be the most brutal blue ball possible on this mission. However, I just took out my oddly shaped dildo and began to smack it over and over. Take that out of context, please, I dare you. But that actually worked, and then it blew up, finishing off the mission, and the first trophy of the game popped. And I kid you not, the next two missions in a row both also had trophies inside of them, and they were both from a man named Avery Carrington. The first one was called Irony, and it's from killing the property developer with a golf club during the mission we are on called For Iron. And this is missable because the overall goal is to just kill the guy through any means possible. With a golf club, however, it's not exactly simple, and I struggled quite a bit with this, I'm not gonna lie. My gaming skills are also completely peaked, so it truly is just that hard and there's no other explanation. However, I got it finally, and I also ran around with only 2 health in circles around the enemies for multiple minutes, getting a hit in whenever possible, and it's actually quite the spectacle. But once I did nail the final blow, I also got totally fucking ran over by a golf cart. But the trophy still popped, and the mission got counted as finished despite me being 6 feet under now. I then went to the next mission right away, and it was again, like I said, from Avery once more. But this time the trophy was a bit more complex, however it's still missable of course, and it's called Chopper It Up from killing all of the hostile NPCs during the mission Demolition Man using the RC Chopper's blades. On this mission you control an RC helicopter and you have to fly it around a new building in progress that is being constructed as we speak. But as usual in the GTA lore, we can't ever have a building get fully constructed no matter how long it may be under construction for. So as we were planting bombs with the RC helicopter, you just have to make sure to do a few loops and kill any enemies on the floor, then move up and do that same process. There is a time limit, however, I always finished fast, so it wasn't a problem at all, and I got the trophy right here once taking out all the enemies there was on the mission. And that then ended off with a giant explosion, of course, which made me come everywhere. The mission literally right after that then had us once more getting up to some not so nice things, and we even cosplayed as Patrick Bateman and chased a fat dude down the street with a live chainsaw. Seeing this definitely would have been a sight, and it was because the cops then got called on us from a bystander who witnessed a fat guy eat the chainsaw. And I'm not gonna lie, I completely did this on accident, but I drove over my first police bribe and it then gave me a trophy for doing that, which was cool. The next trophy I got, however, was again not a missable one like the trophy we just got, but instead from finishing a questline from another dude named Ricardo Diaz. I'm actually convinced there wasn't a single woman main character in this entire game, but after seeing the girl from GTA 6, I can't believe they never gave us such a sight before. I'm severely pissed off, Rockstar. Anyways, this mission just had us chase down enemies with a boat and then also get chased while we were on a boat. Please ignore my first person aim inside of this game, by the way. I was playing blindfolded. But once we did make it to our stop, the trophy then popped with a quite mundane conclusion. No explosions. How boring. About an hour of playing after that, I then began to do Tommy's own mission line, which is unique to himself and it's needed for lots of trophies besides the one missable trophy that I got right here. It's called Salutations, My Friend, and it's got them from using the M4 to take out Diaz during the mission Rub Out, which has us storm his mansion and take it over to then make it ours afterwards. But it's probably the most simple missable trophy of the game because as long as you have an M4, you pretty much can't mess it up, and I didn't, so here it is once he kicked the bucket. I would then go again quite some time without any more trophies, but I also was beginning to struggle with this game story because it's actually kind of difficult. And that's not just me being bad at the game, other people agree, okay? Anyways, the next trophy I did get wasn't a missable one, it was just a normal story one from finishing the questline for Juan Cortez. enemies. The final mission for him had us on a boat defending it from waves upon waves of enemies, and it was actually quite fun to do. Thankfully, the enemies also weren't that smart, so it made it even more simple to complete, and once surviving the onslaught, the trophy then popped. And my next 2 trophies after that were also both just from finishing off these story quest lines. First for a man named Mitch Baker, who sounds like he's a closeted homosexual like your father, and secondly for a rock band this time called Love Fist. I didn't know Vice City was freaky like that. But after all of that, I would end up reaching a mission that is infamous on GTA Vice City as being one of the hardest, at least in my opinion. It's called Naval Engagement, and it's extremely difficult just for the fact that you basically cannot take cover in that initial combat encounter, tanking your HP. But then after that, you go and take out even more enemies in this person's backyard, and after collecting some briefcases, which is the point of the mission, you get jumped again, and the game even teleport spawns you to be right in their crosshairs. So unless you have enough HP remaining at this point, you're basically cooked. And I would go on to fail this numerous times, and ultimately I crashed out again. But this was actually almost an entire month ago, and what spiked my break and leave from playing Rockstar games. The myth has finally been explained. Vice City broke me. But seeing as I don't want to play Fortnite though, I did return today to finish off the game, and upon trying this mission over again, I ended up googling how to finish it because I was so lost as to how it's even possible. Ultimately, I found out that in the last combat section against the enemies, you don't even have to fight, and instead you can just make a dash to a car and escape, because then the cops come after you, and I did get caught up with them sadly, but on my next try I did manage to do it finally, despite the scuffness still. Yes, that's a real word, I promise. Anyways, that mission also didn't even give me a trophy, so now I just feel betrayed. My next trophy, however, came a few missions later on, and it was from blowing up a gang's building. I have no clue what the significance of the building was, seeing as it was entirely empty and void of anything at all. Don't we love the attention to detail in GTA games? I'm just kidding, but blowing it up was kind of confusing as well. However, I did do it, and once we ran away without dying, the trophy then popped. That was actually the last story mission I really had left to do, because the rest of them were all much more scattered out and required me to actually do other things besides just existing to get them given to me. One of those being by purchasing and doing all of the asset missions for every business inside of Vice City. This is both needed for the story, and also the missions themselves are a requisite for 100% completion. But in order to get the money to buy these businesses, I needed a large sum of dough. And in Vice City, there is this wonderful exploit or method to get money, which was suggested and mentioned in the trophy guide. Essentially, all you have to do is play this cone crazy minigame atop a rooftop near ocean view, and for 7 runs in a row, you need to finish it at close to or exactly 0 seconds remaining. Then after that is done, slowly start raising the time from finishing at 1 second up till you can't finish the course any faster. And this is a good money glitch because every second that you do better, it doubles the money you make off of the course. And eventually, after doing it quite a few times successfully, I was making billions of dollars, I think. I'm not sure how much money there was, but it wouldn't stop going up. And during this glitch, I also did get 2 trophies, which were both very grindy without it. First, called Bloodstained Hands, from earning the Butcher criminal rating, and secondly from earning the Godfather criminal rating, both of which were gotten because I had so much money. Criminal ratings, by the way, are very difficult to raise with normal means, and I don't totally understand how they work or how they rank you up, but just having a shitload of money makes it high clearly. And seeing as I now had enough money to spend at any point without worry in this game's platinum, I went and purchased every building you have to for 100% completion. And there's a trophy from just purchasing 10 properties in general, so here is that. Although there is, I believe, 15 total that you need to buy. I then began to do asset missions, which are missions inside of businesses that are needed to be completed for them to start actually making you money. Most of them don't give trophies, but they are all needed, as I say once more. I was also doing assassination contracts, which were a very fun side storyline that only consisted of about 5 total targets, but each of them were very fun and simple to complete, just having us take out citizens on this fine city we are in. Once doing them all, however, it was a trophy pop. And I also did begin to do the hardest asset mission out of them all, which was for the ice cream shop, and I had us complete distribution by selling to at least 50 customers from the ice cream truck. And after about 4 or so people, typically, the cops begin to come after you. And I was pretty much just being consistently ripped out of my truck because I couldn't see the cops running at me, and the truck is not fast, meaning I couldn't get away in time. However, I would ultimately find a good method, and it's at the Boatyard's business area. But you can just deliver as many as possible until the cops get called. Then you drive to the respray shop, which is right in this area, get the vehicle resprayed, lose your water level, and then repeat that until hitting 50 done, and that asset mission was completed. No trophy as well, but it's fine. The next trophy I did get was also just totally random, and it was from reaching max speed with a certain sports car, so that's fun. And the reason I was driving such a fast car was because I decided to grind out the Grand Theft Auto trophy, another import-export car list like in GTA 3. However, this time it was much easier and smaller. I did it in about an hour as well without too much trouble. So here's that trophy once finding all of the cars and delivering them. I then did the last missable trophy of the game called Not My First Time. It's gotten in the final asset mission for the film studio, and it requires you to complete the entire mission without ever touching the ground. And this sounds weird at first, but the mission consists of you riding a very fast bike off of numerous rooftops and doing lots of jumps with it. Overall, it's actually not too bad, and there also isn't really a time constraint on you, there is a time limit, but it's very big. And my best advice is to pretty much just try and find a line in between sending that shit and almost sending that shit. You want to go fast, but not too fast that you shoot over the rooftop you need to land on. And I also did manage to finish it with my bike literally birding up on the final jump. By the graces of God, however, I did survive, so that's awesome. I might have crashed out if I had to retry that. Anyways, that ended with us casting a very suggestive bat signal onto a building for movie promo. And then the trophy popped because I did it correctly. And I actually only had one more story trophy left, which was from the final missions, of course. And it entirely consisted of us just getting ambushed in our mansion by endless enemies. Literally, that's what it felt like. But you do just have to keep killing them regardless if it feels like they are genuinely endless. But once you do take out the final guy, it then triggers an ending cutscene and credits, and then the trophy pops. So that was stage 1 complete. I then moved on to stages 2 and 3, which are both kind of the same thing. The real main goal we have now is to just get to 100% completion, which requires us to do a lot of random activities, but also some usual bullshit that I can't wait to do again. And the first goal I set was to get all of the 100 hidden packages, and just like in GTA 3, they function the same way. Once getting 100, the trophy then popped. It also took me a little over an hour to do, if you're wondering. And in the process of doing side activities, I did get quite bored of stuff, and I had to crash out in the game, or else I was going to crash out in real life. So I went after 2 trophies relating to just causing mass chaos, and the first one was from over $1 million in property damage. Shout out to the minigun for that one. But then I also did just continue to destroy things which raised my wanted level, infamy, and the media in-game eventually noticed I was destroying a city. So I ended up getting this weird media rank called Stuff of Legends, which popped me a trophy. This is like Vice City's version of Killdozer, the Stuff of Legends for real. I then chased down the GTA Vice City unique jumps after that, because my crashing out was sufficient enough to return to a more peaceful life. And the 36 unique jumps of Vice City aren't for the most part that difficult. A few of them were kind of odd to trigger, but if any are challenging or don't work, the best way to get them is just by lifting your bike up before launching it, so it really emphasizes the jump movement. And sometimes this is actually required so the jump recognizes you were there to begin with. But again, like usual, once all of them were done, the trophy then popped. I would sadly then begin the deathly grind that is vehicle missions in Vice City. And I just did this in GTA 3 a few days ago, however, so that did help a lot. I was already used to the typical bullshit with these trophies, but they also did function a bit better and easier in this game compared to GTA 3. The quality of life in Vice City was much improved upon in comparison, so these didn't take me nearly as long. The first one I did do, however, was the paramedic mission level 12, and I actually did this in one try. It did still take forever to do, but I did get it done easily. I then did the entire taxi mission after that, which sucked and took fucking forever to drop off 100 passengers again. And you actually get a trophy at just 25, however, so that's fun. I don't know why they did that, but it's still there. I also was doing that trophy from listening to all the radio stations as well during this, which is suggested because that takes quite some time and it's also a bit buggy. I didn't really find any trouble with it though, so here it is once it popped. Another 2 hours passed and then I did finish the taxi missions, ending up on the vigilante ones next. And this is, in my opinion, the hardest of the vehicle missions in the game, and I would also suggest not using the tank at all. The tank was super good in GTA 3 just because of the gangs everywhere. However, in Vice City, that's not an issue, and the tank is also not as good as it was in GTA 3. Instead, I recommend using the FBI vehicle that is parked behind the police station near the ice cream factory. But this vehicle is insanely fast, and it can also be resprayed during the mission, meaning you can get rid of your wanted level easily, and it also does work for the vigilante missions in general. So I just used that for about an hour. I did still struggle as well, and I died numerous times, but I was getting far into my runs before failing, and usually it was from some BS like a hitbox being horrid or me just blowing myself up. Once completing the 12th one, however, I did win. I got the trophy along with a ton of relief washing over myself. The firefighter mission was then next, and I did this one first try because it was probably the easiest of any. But there was also a trophy from just putting out 10 fires in total, so here is that. Afterwards though, I did the pizza delivery boy questline, and this one again wasn't too hard. It did get kind of challenging on the final level with the time limit, but I did manage to complete it even with some scuffing up on the way, so I wouldn't really say it's any bit hard. Next up, nearing the end of the 100% list, I just did all of the RC missions, and I got a trophy from winning the RC Bandit race. Off topic, but RC races in this game are completely shit and are very weird, and I do not like them. But then I spent about 30 minutes trying to do a 30-second wheelie, which provided to be much harder than I expected. I tried to do the guide's method of just spamming back on the joystick and pressing accelerate, which worked, but I couldn't keep it up for 30 seconds due to my aging arthritis fingers. So I instead did a different approach after a very long time, and it just kind of accelerated, then completely stopped and let the bike stall, and it actually worked very well, helping me get over 30 seconds and the trophy pop. I then did the last random trophy from bouncing a beach ball on my head 5 times in a row, which was hard at first, but not very bad, so here it is. And the final trophy I then had was from 100% completion. And my last 2 goals inside of this were to win all 3 of the arena missions, and to get 45 or more on the shooting range. But all the arena missions weren't really that hard, and you can also just save before you start them, so if you lose, you can just reset and retry. But then the final thing I had to do was reach 45 in the shooting range. And my aim on controllers, and especially in older games, isn't exactly all that great, I won't lie. This took me numerous tries to do. And once I did finally get 45, I didn't manage to get any more than that, so we really tested to see if you had to get more or not. Turns out just reaching 45 was enough, and that pushed me to 100% completion with that trophy popping in the platinum as well. So that was the Grand Theft Auto Vice City Platinum Trophy experience. Overall, I actually really liked the game. It had a great vibe and was surprisingly fun for the most part. A few trophies did make me want a lobotomy, but I still had a much more fun time than I did on GTA 3. I'm super excited for GTA 6, and I will 100% be platinuming that game on drop, so if you guys are still watching me in a year, I'll see you then. Anyways, that's pretty much it for today. Rating the game out of 10, I'll give Vice City a solid 7, and I have to poop now.